Hey everybody, this week's Torah portion is Parshas Tisa, and in the beginning of this week's Torah portion, the Jewish people are told to take a census, to count the Jewish people. Now the way they counted them was that they would take a half coin, break a coin in half, a silver shekel, and give that shekel, and they would count those little half shekel pieces, and that's how they would know how many Jews there were. Now what's interesting is that this mitzvah only starts at age 20. So only from age 20 do they start counting. It's the only mitzvah in the Torah which doesn't start. Normally a mitzvah starts at age 13, or 12 for a girl, 13 for a young man. And only by this mitzvah do we start specifically at age 20. And we have to ask ourselves, why is it? Why is it only at age 20 do we start counting Jews when in fact they're obligated to fulfill all the other 612 commandments at age 13 or 12? And to understand this, we have to understand something very fascinating about how we measure success, or how we decide what makes a person count. Now, if you ask an Amalekite, that's the group of people who attacked the Jewish people as they left Egypt, and they're the villains in this Megillah that we just read on Purim, how do they define success? So they define success by what can I do to somebody else. Hence, when they attacked the Jewish people, they did not go in there and ask for their money, nor did they take the Jews and make them slaves, which they should have done. We were already professional slaves. What they did was they went straight to kill us. Why? Because they define strength and success by what you can do to somebody else. But that's not how the Jewish people define success. We define success by what you can do for someone else. That's why the counting doesn't start until age 20, because at age 20, what happened to a Jew was that now that Jew was able to join the army. You had to wait till you were 20 years old to join the army. Only once you were able to give up your life for your fellow man were you then able to count yourself as a Jew. So we define our success not by what we can do to others, but what we can do for others. And that's why it's very interesting that this is always read, this parsha, always this time of year, which is the time of year where we focus really on giving to others. That's why we just had on the holiday of Purim the giving of Shalach Manot and Matanot Levyonim, gifts to the poor, because really this is a time period, as we always do all year, but really on this month we focus most in it on what we can do for our fellow Jews, because that's how we really define ourselves, and that's when we start to count as part of the community. On behalf of Makarave, Shabbat Shalom.